What is output? Computer output is the most important and direct source of information to the user. The major form of output is a hard copy from a printer. The printer should design around the output required of the users. Output media devices. CRT screen means cathode ray tube. Cathode ray tube is a vacuum tube that contains one or more electron guns and a phosphorescent screen and is used to display images. It modulates, accelerates, and deflects electron beam onto the screen to create the images. Printers. Printers is the common use of output media devices. Printers is a machine of printing text or picture onto paper, especially one link to a computer. Plotter. A plotter produces vector graphics drawings. Plotters draw lines on paper using a pen. Audio response. Audio response is like a speaker on a computer. Storage. We need storage to store some other data. These are the other types of output devices. Display devices, printers, plotters, speakers, flash drive, floppy disk, zip disk, CD plus RW. RW means writable. CDR, R means recordable. DVD-R, storage tape, smart media, removable hard drive, memory stick. Because today, no one uses this type of output devices. Output design. The design of output is the most important task of any system. During output design, developers identify the type of outputs needed and consider the necessary output controls and prototype report layouts. The objectives of output design are to develop output design that serves the intended purpose and eliminates the production of unwanted output. It means the unwanted output, these are the unnecessary data that needs to eliminate. To develop the output design that meets the end user requirements. These are the software requirements that the end user needs to develop the output. To deliver the appropriate quantity of output, there must be an appropriate quantity of the output. To form the output in appropriate format and direct it to the right person. To make the output available on time for making good decisions. Types of outputs. External outputs. Manufacturers create and design external outputs for printers. External outputs enable the system to leave the trigger action on the part of the recipients or confirm action to the recipients. Internal outputs are present inside the system and used by the end users and managers. They support the management in decision making and reporting. There are three types of reports produced by the management information: detailed reports, summary reports, exceptional reports.
A form option in a graphical user interface is an element of interaction such as button or scroll bar. It allows a computer user interacts with through direct manipulation to read or edit information about an application. Each widget facilitates a specific type of user-computer interaction and appears as a visible part of the application's graphical user interface, as defined by the theme and rendered by the rendering engine. The theme makes all widgets adhere to a unified aesthetic design and creates a sense of overall cohesion. Some widgets support interaction with the user, for example, labels, buttons, and checkboxes. Others act as a container that groups the widgets added to them, for example, windows, panels, and tabs. Selection and display of selections. Button. Control which can be clicked upon to perform an action, an equivalent to a push button as found on mechanical or electronic instruments. Radio button. Control which can be clicked upon to select one option from a selection of options, similar to selecting a radio station from a group of buttons dedicated to radio tuning. Radio buttons always appear in pairs of larger groups and only one option in the group can be selected at a time. Selecting a new item from the group's buttons also deselects the previously selected button. Checkbox control which can be clicked upon to enable or disable an option, also called a tick box. The option indicates an on or off state via the check mark tick or a cross. It can be shown in an intermediate state, shaded or with a dash to indicate the various objects in a multiple selection have different values for the property represented by the checkbox. Multiple checkbox in a group may be selected, in contrast with radio buttons. Split button control combining a button, typically invoking some default action in a drop-down list with related secondary actions. Cycle button, a button that cycles its content through two or more values, thus enabling selection of one from a group of items. Slider, control with a handle that can be moved up and down, vertical slider or right and left, horizontal slider on a bar to select a value or range if two handles are present. The bar allows user to make adjustments to a value or process throughout a range of allowed values. List box, a graphical control element that allows a user to select one or more items from a list contained within a static multiple line text box. Spinner: value input control which has small up and down buttons to step through a range of values. Drop-down list: a list of items from which to select. The list normally only displays items when a special button or indicator is clicked. Menu: control with multiple actions which can be clicked upon to choose a selection to active. Context menu: a type of menu whose contents depend on the context or state in effect when the menu is invoked. Pie menu: a circular context menu where selection depends on direction. Menu bar: a graphical control element which contains drop-down menus. Toolbar: a graphical control element on which on-screen button, icons, menus, or other input or output elements are placed. Ribbon: a hybrid of menu and toolbar, displaying a large collection of commands and a visual layout through a tab interface. Combo box: text box with attached menu or list box, a combination of a single line text and a drop-down list or list box allowing the user to either type a value directly into the control or choose from the list of existing options. Icon: a quickly comprehensible symbol of a software tool, function, or a data file. Tree view: a graphical control element that presents a hierarchical view of information. Grid view or data grid: a spreadsheet-like tabular view of a data that allows number of texts to be entered in rows and columns. A navigation bar or navigation system is a section of a graphical user interface intended to aid visitors in accessing information. Navigation bars are implemented in file browser web browser as a design element of some websites. Examples: link, text with some kind of indicator, usually underlining and or color that indicates that clicking it will take one to another screen or page. Tab, a graphical control element that allows multiple documents or panels to be contained within a single window. Scroll bar, a graphical control element by which continuous text, pictures, or any other content can be scrolled in a predetermined direction. Output of graphical user interface example. Label. Text used to describe another widget. Tooltip. Informational window which appears when the mouse hovers another control. Status bar. A graphical control element which possesses an information area typically found at the window's bottom. Progress bar, a graphical control element used to visualize the progression of an extended computer operation such as a download, file transfer, or installations. Info bar, a graphical control element used by many programs to display non-critical information to a user. A container is used to store the items the user will see on display, such as panel or a frame. These are the very core of what holds everything together and are the primary skeletal system of the graphical user interface as a whole. Examples: window, a graphical control element consisting of a visual area containing some the graphical user interface element of the program it belongs to. Collapsible panel, a panel that can be compactly store content which is hidden or revealed by clicking the tab of the widget. Drawer, side sheets or surfaces containing supplementary content that may be anchored to, pull out from, or push away beyond the left or right edge of the screen. Accordion, a vertically stacked list of items such as labels or thumbnails, where each item can be expanded to reveal the associated content. Modal window, a graphical control element subordinate to an application's main window, which creates a mode where the main window can't be used. Dialog box, a small window that communicates information to the user and prompts for a response. Palette window, also known as utility window, a graphical control element which floats on top of our regular window and offers ready access tools, commands, and informations for the current application. Inspector window, a type of dialog window that shows a list of the current attributes of a selected object and allows this parameter to be changed on the fly. Frame, a type of box within which a collection of graphical control elements can be grouped as a way to show relationships visually. Canvas, generic drawing element for representing graphical information. Cover flow, an animated three-dimensional element of visually flipping through snapshots of documents, websites, bookmark, album artwork, or photographs. Bubble flow, an animated two-dimensional element that allows users to browse and interact the entire tree of view a discussion thread. Here are some examples of what I have mentioned. Design considerations. There are many aspects to consider in the design of a piece of software. The importance of each consideration should reflect the goals and expectations that the software is being created to meet. Some of these aspects are compatibility. The software is able to operate with other products that are designed for interoperability with another product. For example, a piece of software may be backward compatible with an older version of itself. Extensibility. New capabilities can be added to the software without major changes to the underlying architecture. Modularity. The resulting software comprises well-defined, independent components which leads to better maintainability. The component could be then implemented and tested in isolation before being integrated to form a desired software system. This allows division of work in a software development project. Fault tolerance. The software is resistant to and able to recover from component failure. Maintainability, a measure of how easily bug fixes or functional modification can be accomplished. High maintainability can be the product of modularity and extensibility. Reliability or software durability. Software is able to perform a required function under stated conditions for a specified period of time. Reusability, the ability to use some or all of the aspects of the pre-existing software in the other projects with little to no modification. Robustness, software is able to operate under stress or tolerate unpredictable or invalid input. For example, it can be designed with resilience to low memory conditions. Security, the software is able to withstand and resist hostile acts and influences. Usability. The software user interface must be usable for its target or user or audience. Default values for the parameters must be chosen so that they are a good choice for the majority of the users. Performance. The software performs its task within a time frame that is acceptable for the users and does not require too much memory. Portability. The software should be usable across a number of different conditions and environments. Scalability. The software adapts well to increasing data or added features or number of users.
Forms control. Forms control are the items on a data entry form that allows you to interact with the system and enter data. This is what an example of a form looked like. Here are what's included in a form. First is text boxes, used to enter text using a keyboard. They are used when required to give details such as name, age, etc. Second is option buttons. It is used to select an item from a number of options. It is also called as radio button. Next one is check boxes. It is used to select multiple items from a number of options. It is used when more than one option is required. Then we have combo boxes. It is used to select one item from a list of options. It is similar with option buttons, but in combo boxes, the options are in the form of drop-down list. Lastly, we have command buttons. It is used to perform a command. It is a clickable button that is used to submit or cancel forms. Designing screen output. The system analyst has 6 main objectives in designing output. Number 1 is to design output to serve the intended human and organizational purpose. In other words, it is to design an output that serves the expectation of the client and the user. Number 2 is to fit the user. It means that the system should be user-friendly. Number 3 is to deliver the right quantity of output. Output displays in an application should show information consistently from page to page. Number 4 is to deliver it to the right place. Make sure that the output is where it is needed. Number 5 is to provide output on time. It should be available at the right time period. Number 6, choose the right output method. It is important that the analyst realize that output content is related to output method. Readability and graphics. Readability refers to the way in which words and blocks of type are arranged on a page. In designing graphical output, the system analysts and any users involved in design prototyping must determine: first, the purpose of the graph. It is to discuss the aim of the chart. Second one is the kind of data that needs to be displayed. It is important to collaborate with users in choosing the correct style of graph to communicate your meaning. Third, its audience, the people who will use the system. And fourth, the effects on the audience of different kinds of graphical output. Graphical output needs to be accurate and easy to understand and use if it is to be effective in communicating information to users.